Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Yesterday we had a triple header of action in the NBA, and although none of the games were particularly exciting, there's still plenty to talk about. So we'll get into it by talking about the Bucks Magic series, and I am very happy that my Bucks moved on. Unfortunately, it wasn't more convincingly. They won in 5 and were unable to really blow out the Magic in any of the contests, which is a bit disappointing in the 1 versus 8 matchup. However, there are definitely a lot of positive takeaways from this series too. The first being that Giannis looks downright unstoppable, especially when he's going downhill in transition. In that case, you really just have to take a charge. That's the only way to stop him. And when he anticipates that and pulls out his Euro step, he's going to get a dunk 95% of the time. And yesterday, he had 28 points on 11 for 17 shooting, 17 rebounds, 3 for 6 from the arc. Didn't shoot the ball particularly well from the free throw line. But of those 28 points, I would say 12 or 14 of them came off dunks. So, yeah, he was definitely a dominant force yesterday for the Bucks, and they need him to be because he's their best player, and he's maybe the best player in the league. I'd definitely say top 3. And when you have a player of that caliber, you definitely expect them to step up and play magnificently. However, some players that did not play magnificently yesterday were the Bucks role players. They need a lot more from them in this Heat series that's upcoming because the Heat are going to give up open looks from the three-point line to the players that they deem incapable of knocking down jumpers. And yesterday, those role players for the Bucks were not knocking down their threes. I think Wesley Matthews was about 1 for 7. The only one that really shot the ball particularly well was Marvin Williams, who had a big game, 4 for 5 from 3. Definitely was a key factor in yesterday's victory. And hopefully he can continue that into this Heat series because he seems like our best option as a shooter playing off the ball alongside Giannis, Chris, and Bled. So it was great to see him step up. Obviously, this was the end of the road for the Magic. They'll now leave the bubble, but they got some outstanding production from Nikola Vucevic in in this year's first round playoff series. Yesterday he didn't shoot the ball very well, but he still finished with 22 points and 15 rebounds, 9 for 25 from the field, 3 for 10 from 3. Obviously, you would want a bit more efficient shooting from him, but still a great effort in this series. He probably averaged around 30 points for the series as a whole. Was in double-digit rebounds for every game, and he really played like a star in this series. I think a big reason why the Magic were able to steal a game from the Bucks and the Sixers were not able to steal a game from the Celtics was because Vucevic played better than Embiid in the playoffs. And this guy is a really good center, really good offensive center especially. He's probably a top 5 offensive center in the NBA behind Embiid, Jokic, and Karl Towns. So maybe the 4th best. Maybe there's someone I'm forgetting who is also up there, but he's just a really good player, and it'll be interesting to see if the Magic consider trading him this offseason. More about that in my Magic offseason preview, which should be up today. Giannis also, as I said, shot 3 of 6 from 3, and that's going to be really important in this Heat series because the Heat are going to let him shoot that 3. They're going to be sagging off and giving up that off-the-dribble 3. And Giannis can fall in love with that shot sometimes. So if he's knocking him down, then that is a huge difference maker in the series. It forces the Heat to be honest and guard him on the perimeter. And when you are forced to step out and guard Giannis 25 feet from the basket, that's when those dunks come. Obviously, Bam is a very capable defender on Giannis, but, well, he's just so hard to stop. I'm getting ahead of myself. Eastern Conference semifinals preview also going up later today, as well as a Blazers offseason preview. So 4 videos today. Very exciting, very exciting. So keep your eye open for that one because I think that's going to be a really, really fun video. The Eastern Conference semifinals preview. Middleton also had another pretty decent game, pretty similar to the performances that he had for us in games 3 and 4, 21 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, 7 for 16 from the field, 3 for 8 from 3. And that's the kind of production we need from him. We need him scoring in the 20s. And if we can get that, it's going to do a lot to help us move past the Heat. Rockets Thunder, this one was a blowout. The Rockets looked really good yesterday, and the Thunder looked terrible. Russell Westbrook returned. He didn't have a great game. Only had 7 points on 3 for 13 shooting in 24 minutes. He was on a minutes restriction, so he didn't play that much. But he knocked down 2 of his first 3 shots. A couple mid-range jumpers, if I'm remembering correctly. But so obviously it's going to take a little bit for him to knock the rust off. So it'd be great for Houston if they're able to come through with another blowout in Game 6 to allow him to continue to, even if he's not playing his best, he can still knock the rust off and get back into a rhythm out there on the court. They just left Lou Dort wide open. Obviously, Oklahoma City wants this guy on the court because he did a really good job on Harden, but his offensive production was just absolutely atrocious. He had 6 points on 3 for 16 shooting and 0 for 9 from the three-point line, and that is just not going to get it done. Yesterday, he showed a few signs of being that slasher player that I would like to see him do more of because obviously he can't shoot. So when they're leaving him on the three-point line and daring him to take those three-point shots, I would like it if he created some more penetration after that. On the catch, he puts his head down and drives, then tries to find the open man off of that. And I kind of preached that after Game 4, after they were leaving him wide open for the whole game. And yesterday, he just kept shooting, and he went 0 for 9 from 3. So Billy Donovan definitely needs to make an adjustment there and try to figure out how Lou Dort can be on the court without just being an absolute minus on the offensive end of the floor. Dennis Schroder really needs to come in earlier in each half. They got off to the Thunder, that is, got off to rotten starts in each of the first 2 halves. At the beginning of the first quarter, they got down double digits right away, and in the third quarter, the Rockets really busted open their lead. And if Schroder, he might be their second best player, and for him to ride the bench for the first 7 minutes of the half while the Rockets open up a big lead, it just can't happen. I'm not exactly sure who you're subbing him in for. Maybe you put him in for Steven Adams at like the 8-minute mark of each quarter and play small ball for a while. But that they just need to get him more action because he's had a really good past 3 games. Obviously, yesterday he got ejected, so he was only able to play 21 minutes. But in those 21 minutes, he was their best offensive option. He finished with 19 points, 6 for 13 shooting. And so I just think that they need to try to get him on the court more. Billy Donovan needs to make an adjustment there. He needs to make an adjustment with Lou Dort. Maybe it's Schroder starting over Lou Dort, and Schroder can try to guard Harden. In Game 1, when Lou Dort was out, Schroder showed some flashes of doing a pretty good job on Harden. So maybe they can try this again with Schroder matching up on Harden, but he just needs to play more. I think in their Game 4 victory, he was only able to get 28 minutes in regulation, and with a player of his caliber on this team, you'd like to see him playing 38 minutes. And when he's sitting out the first 6 to 7 minutes of each half, that's just not happening. Finally, last thing with this game, Steven Adams, 12 points, 14 rebounds on 6 for 8 shooting. He can be a weapon against this Thunder team, considering they don't have a big man. And I think they could try to use him a bit more in the offense. because he's just so strong. He can push guys around, and obviously that's not usually his game. But when you're down 3-2 in the playoffs, adjustments need to be made. And I think that's another one that Billy Donovan could look at. Last game yesterday, Blazers-Lakers. I didn't have any interest in this game. Kind of felt like the Blazers were a sitting duck without Dame, and they didn't really have much of a chance at all. So what I'm saying is just based off the box score because my family wanted to watch a movie last night, and I said sure. I don't need to watch this one. So Portland's bench was pretty weak. Guys like Jalen Horde getting big minutes. Guy who hadn't played the entire bubble really. So they're just so injury weak, and they've lost all their guys. It just was not happening yesterday, and seeing the box score and looking at some of the names that were on the court for them for 20 plus minutes, it was like, oof, okay, yeah, this team was done. CJ played 46 of the 48 possible minutes and had a big game, 36 points on 13 for 25 shooting, 3 for 7 from 3, 7 for 8 from the line. Maybe it's his last game in a Blazers jersey. I sincerely doubt it, but it's possible. But he definitely gave it his all, and just wasn't enough with how short their bench was. Melo also stepped it up, 27 points, 9 for 16, 3 for 4, 6 for 7 from the line, 3 for 4 from three-point line, that is. So big game from him, but it really didn't matter because they couldn't stop AD or LeBron. AD finished with 43 and 9, 14 for 18 shooting, 4 for 6 from the 3, 11 for 13 from the line. And LeBron was 36 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, 14 for 19 from the field, 4 for 7 from the three-point line, and 4 for 4 from the free throw line. So when those two guys are going to combine for 79 points and shoot the ball well, game over. And the Blazers just didn't have the offensive firepower to hang in there with them yesterday. So, unfortunate end of the season for an exciting Blazers team that was probably my favorite team to watch during the seeding games. But I'm excited to talk about them in my off-season preview for them later today. So, like I said, Magic off-season preview, Blazers off-season preview, Eastern Conference Finals preview. Great day to talk about basketball. That's it for me. Ladies and gentlemen, I will see you all again very soon.